Everything in your life is temporal, except what you do for eternity. How you live for Jesus, how you live according to the covenant, because those are the eternal things. The Bible tells us that, remember, when he sentenced Daniel, or what he actually said was, you cannot pray to another God without punishment of execution. And so the Bible tells us there were men that were jealous of Daniel, and they wanted to get him trapped and get him in trouble. And they knew that Daniel prayed 3 times a day, because Daniel did so in front of his window in a Persian Iranian Empire, by the way. This is the current day country of Iran, okay? So just to put some perspective in this, Daniel was praying in what is the area of Iran today, 3 times a day in out of his window to the God of heaven and earth. And the king said the decree came forth because his team baited him into this decree for the purpose of destroying Daniel. Remember, everything that the enemy intends for evil, God's going to use it for your good. So the enemy is plotting against you right now, but God has already determined your deliverance. Before the enemy started planning, God determined your deliverance. Joseph said, everything that the enemy has intended for evil, what you intended for evil against me, God has turned for my good. So these men were plotting against Daniel, just like Haman was plotting against Esther and Mordecai and the Jews. And the scripture tells us that the king sealed his decree, signed that decree, and it could not be revoked under Persian law. And then they came to him with this accusation on Daniel. And he was grieved, the king was, because he liked Daniel. He didn't want to throw Daniel in the lion's den, but he didn't have a choice by then, because he sealed the word of the king. So the sealing of the word of a king, this is an earthly king, by the way, who was the highest authority in the land at that time. So how much more is the word sealed by the King of heaven and earth, the King of the universe, the master of all created things? And of course, we know the story of Daniel. Daniel comes out, and not only did he survive, and they became pets to him in that lion's den, but then the men who tried to set him up got thrown in, consumed by the lions, and Daniel got even more promoted. How many of you know the devil can't stop your promotion or your blessing? He can't stop what God has appointed for you as good.